As we discussed in the last lecture that this repertory, the original repertory of Boning Hussein, which is in German language, it is published in 1846 at Germany. Then by an anonymous author to English in 1848 by Hampel. It is criticized for careless translation, and then by Allen there was addition of some medicines in the repertory as well as subtraction of some medicines from the original work, and then the American edition was published. In original work of Dr. Boning Hussein, this is also we discussed in the last lecture that in the original work there are 126 remedies. Then Dr. T.F. Allen, when he go through the repertory, he subtracted 4 remedies from the original work and he added 220 remedies in it. So in American edition there are about 342 remedies. The preface of this repertory, which is written by Derby in August 1935, it has been used more than 100 years. The book has fallen into disuse because of practicable application by the younger generation in past few years. It is because they have had knowledge of its philosophical background. Every man, every homeopath who has worked hard has built on some principles. If we utilize these works, we shall see the wisdom of the past flowering in the healing of the present. According to H.A. Robert, the repertory uses by H.A. Robert, and he gives or he says the values of repertory which depends on the art of the physician in taking the case, as how what which art the physician should have while taking the case, which we discussed in the last lecture. Then the knowledge of the repertory, one attempts to use the philosophical background, its construction, its limitations, its adaptability. That means while the homeopath was using any type of repertory, then he should have thorough knowledge about that repertory. He should have proper knowledge of the philosophical background behind that repertory. He should have knowledge how the repertory was constructed, how the repertory was arranged. He should have knowledge about the limitations of that repertory as well as its adaptability. That means in which case which repertory is used, or any repertory if we select, then in which type of cases that repertory was used. Intelligent use of resulting analysis. So in this way, the value of repertory depends on these three things, that is the art of physician in taking case, the knowledge of repertory in detail, and intelligent use of resulting analysis. Then philosophical background of this repertory. As just now we discussed that in this repertory, Dr. Hahnemann introduced many new doctrines, that is doctrine of analogy, doctrine of grand generalization, doctrine of complete symptom, doctrine of concomitant. Repertory is means to end, never an end itself. Means we should go towards the end with the help of repertory. But to find out the end result, we need help of materia medica finally. So repertory is helpful to bring us towards the end, not at the end. It is the bridge of knowledge between physician and chronic disease or patient. Means while treating the patient, when we are selecting or choosing the medicine, then the repertory help us as a bridge, act as a bridge of knowledge between the physician and the patient. From the structure of the repertory, the physician gain the best outlook into the patient's past condition, present symptomatology, and his probable future development. Many times, if we forgot to ask any question while taking the history, then with the help of repertory we can able to formulate the questions. We can find out many times which the probable future developments will going to happen in certain kind of patients, in certain kind of persons. Dr. Boning Hussein, he was a great follower of Dr. Hahnemann, and he proceeds upon the Hahnemann's theory that the man who is sick not and all his discomforts are a part of his condition. When the patient is coming to our clinic, then according to the concept of Boning Hussein, according to concept of Dr. Hahnemann, we should consider the man as a whole, not his part, not his organ, or not his disease condition. We consider the man is sick, not his any part or any disease condition. As any machine, the human organism is also a great complicated machine, and it is composed of many parts which are assembled according to a definite plan or idea. There must be some storehouse for the parts, and in that storehouse the parts are kept. The repertory is the stockroom of a factory for orderly storage of parts, each in its own self. And the workman sets the parts necessary to form machine and assemble according to the plan. So as the workman assemble the machine according to the plan, we should also assemble, or we should also construct the totality after taking the case. As the human organism is composed of different part, and according to a definite plan, according to a definite idea, we should also construct a proper totality. The parts lying loose on the shelves, on the floor, on the workman's bench are not the machine, but are only the parts. There must be parts plus the plan or idea. Combined, they give individuality, form, utility, and efficacy. So, if after taking the case we cannot arrange the symptoms properly, then we cannot able to find out the proper image of the patient. As Dr. Boning Hussain, he gave example of machine. If any complicated machine is made up of different parts, and when we construct all these parts properly, with proper plan, with proper idea, when it was constructed, then and then only it was going to work properly. If the parts are lying loose on the shelves, on floor, on they're scattered all over in the room, then we cannot get a proper machine from that part. But only when we can arrange them properly, then it is going to work properly. So in the same way, when we are going to arrange the symptoms properly, then we are able to find out the proper simillimum. We are able to find out the individuality of the patient. We are going to find out the constitution proper of the patient. The therapeutic pocketbook of Dr. Boning Hussain, it furnishes both the plan and the parts. When a person becomes sick or diseased, the inner man of the vital force becomes passive and is obliged to obey the command of the inimical influence to produce irregular functions of different parts of organism, as a result of which abnormal functions and sensations result. Means, when the vital force is active, it is not sick. When the vital force is, when the person is healthy, the vital force is also healthy, it is active, and it produce proper functions. But as the person becomes sick, as the person becomes deceased, then its vital force also get disturbed and it become passive, and it follow the command of inimical influence to produce irregular functions of different parts of organism, as a result of which abnormal functions and sensations result. These we considered as signs and symptoms. So, totality of symptoms must be the sole guide in treating the patient in a rational way. So, in this way, Dr. Boning Hussain, he gave importance to find out the proper totality, to find out the proper portrait of the disease, and to find out the proper totality, to find out the proper image, to find out the proper picture of the symptoms of the patient. It is the sole guide in the treatment of the patient. While studying symptomatology or homeopathic materia medica, Boning Hussain realized many difficulties. He found many symptoms recorded completely, and very often the incomplete part was relating to their modalities. Boning Hussain held that the symptom should be complete so that it fits into a totality. According to Dr. Boning Hussain, while taking the case, each and every symptom should be complete. What is complete symptom? So, the complete symptom, according to Dr. Boning Hussain, is the symptom which contain location, sensation, modality and concomitant. That is called complete symptom. So, while taking the case, we should try to take each and every symptom in detail as location, sensation, modality and concomitant. Under location, which include part, organ, tissue, system, direction, extension involved in disease process. Means which part get affected, which system get affected, from where the affection was started and where it extend or where it go, the direction of the disease process or extension of the disease process. This is about location. Then under sensation it comes change in normal function alters the sensation. If the normal function, if there is change in the normal function, then the sensation get altered, which is first noticed as a complaint. It include or under sensation it comes the type of pain, suffering, type of suffering, Then if there are any functional or organic changes which characterize the morbid process. Then modalities. Under modalities, it includes factors such as causing, exciting, increasing, decreasing, or any other modifying factor of the symptom, which things modify the symptom, which things which aggravate the symptom, which things ameliorate the symptom, such as causative factors. Of that condition also. Then concomitant symptoms. Lastly, its presence is helpful for the physician to individualize the case, because the concomitant symptoms most of the time they are the expression of the individual, and so they are very important symptoms for the purpose of individualization and for the purpose of study of symptom and disease. Thus, it deserves the prime importance. These symptoms help to differentiate between case and between remedy. They are helpful to find out the proper remedy. So in this way, the concomitant symptoms are very much helpful. Dr. Boning Hussein's attempt was to complete the symptom, but in practice, he found, as well as the many homeopaths at that time, they found that it was a difficult job to do so. It was difficult to take each and every symptom as a complete symptom. In some symptoms, we cannot get proper modalities. In some symptoms, we cannot get proper sensation. In some symptoms, we cannot get proper concomitant symptoms. So, it was a difficult task to take each and every symptom as a complete symptom, and especially the difficulties was found while taking the modalities and sensations. Therefore, to evolve the concept that he evolved the concept, or he gave the concept that what is true to the part is also true to the whole of the person. The following fundamental concepts form the bedrock of his therapeutic pocketbook. So, as we discussed earlier, according to Dr. Boning Hussein, he was not considering his part as a diseased part, his organ, his system as a diseased system, or the disease by its name, but he considered the whole man is sick. So, according to that concept, what is true to the part is also true to the whole person. The following fundamental concepts form the bedrock of therapeutic pocketbook. So which concepts are behind the therapeutic pocketbook? That is doctrine of analogy. First one is doctrine of analogy. This concept was introduced newly to the homeopathy by Dr. Boning-Hussein. Boning-Hussein's analytical mind came to the conclusion that to complete the symptom, the local modalities and sensations pertaining to one part should also be applied to other parts. Thus, he raised local symptoms to a general level which could be used for the whole person. So, he said that or according to his concepts, he considered sickness is an expression of the whole man and not of the part. Sickness, it was expressed through different parts of the person. Thus, all the modalities which are noticed in one part but missing in any other part should be taken as an expression of the whole person. However, this approach may not serve those cases wherein different parts express different modalities which do not correspond with the person's characteristic. Means when the different part is expressing different modalities, then this concept, we cannot follow this concept, but only when we are not getting the modalities of each and every symptom. If the modalities we noticed in one part but missing in other part, then only we should follow this doctrine. Then only we should take the modality of one part as a modality of the whole person. So this is the doctrine of analogy. This is very much important for exam point of view. Many times a short note was asked in previous exams about doctrine of analogy. So this doctrine of analogy, in short, revise the doctrine of analogy. That means when we are not getting the modalities of each and every part, if the modalities are missing of one part, then we consider the modalities of one part as a whole person's modalities. Then the second one, that is doctrine of concomitant. The doctrine of concomitant is also introduced first time by Dr. Boning-Hussein to the homeopathy. This concept is also first time came in the mind of Boning-Hussein. Boning-Hussein found while taking the case a group of symptoms along with the main complaint, which in practice were generally overlooked by the patient and unnoticed by the physician also. Why it was unnoticed or why it was overlooked? Because of inadequate observation of the physician as well as patient, and such group of symptoms even appear to be unrelated to the main complaint, but all the same they are quite crucial in individualizing the case as well as remedy. So these symptoms they individualize the person, so they are very much important from homeopathic point of view while treating the patient homeopathically, because these symptoms help to individualize the case, individualize the remedy, individualize the patient. Master Hahnemann had also stated importance of the striking, singular, rare and characteristic symptoms. According to Master Hahnemann, the striking, singular, rare, peculiar symptoms, these are nothing but the concomitant symptoms which are described by Dr. Boning-Hussein. The concomitant symptom is to the totality what the condition of aggravation or amelioration is to the single part. So, the concomitant symptom is nothing but the whole person's symptoms, as the different when there are suffering, when the person's different parts are suffering or diseased, then it show the different modalities many times, but the concomitant it was same for the person. So it is said that the concomitant symptom is to the totality what the condition of amelioration and aggravation is to the single symptom. These concomitant symptoms are those that don't have any direct pathological relation to the leading symptom, main symptom, and so for homeopaths, these symptoms are very valuable symptoms. So Dr. Boning-Hussein he gave more importance to these symptoms because these symptoms are helpful to individualize the patient as well as to individualize the remedy. So in this way, in today's lecture we discuss about the philosophical background. We started with philosophical background of BTPB, and in that we completed the three important points, that is doctrine of complete symptom, why Dr. Boning-Hussein he advocated the doctrine of complete symptom and its importance, then doctrine of analogy, that is grand generalization, and doctrine of concomitant. So this doctrine of analogy or doctrine of grand generalization, it is afterwards criticized by Dr. Kent, and he introduced against this doctrine, that is doctrine of limited generalization. In the next lecture, we discuss about the grand symptom. What is grand symptom? Then how the gradations are given in BTPB and how the markings or grades it was given. Then what is doctrine of concordance? This concept, doctrine of concordance or concordance relationship of remedy, this was also first time introduced by Dr. Boning Hussain. So what is this doctrine of concordance or relationship of remedy? We discussed in the next lecture. Thank you.